everybody, and welcome to CWU Live. My name's Karen Rose, and I'm the President of the CWU, and I'm delighted this evening to be joined by our Deputy General Secretary. Good evening, Andy.
Hi, Karen.
So tonight is about delivering the final messages before the ballot papers start to land by post at your home addresses tomorrow. We'll also attempt, live TV allowing, to deliver a very special message in a few minutes, so make sure that you stay tuned. By now, you'll have all had the home mailings, the emails, the texts, probably spoken to some of your branch officials, and I think that we all know what's at stake. And I'm going to ask Andy Kerr just to outline some final messages tonight on the eve of the ballot. Andy, final message to members.
Well, thanks, Karen, and thanks everyone for joining us this evening. Really, my message is fairly simple. It's obviously to vote and vote yes. When the ballot papers arrive tomorrow morning, make sure you open that ballot paper. By all means, read through the documentation that's with it, but please vote yes in the ballot and get it back in the post box as soon as possible. That's the most important message. But I just want to say a couple of words about the dispute itself. It's been said, I don't want to, we haven't taken this decision lightly at all. We were, and I still are, willing to negotiate with BT over pay. It's not us that's walked away from the negotiating table. We did reject what they claimed is the full and final offer, but we were still willing to negotiate. It was the company who decided to impose this pay deal on you, not the union, by any stretch of the imagination. Not us, it was the company. But I just want to make it clear, the company can afford more. There's no question about that whatsoever. A company that can make £1.3 billion in profit, give away £761 million to their shareholders in dividends, can afford to pay their workers more. And you deserve it. You deserve more for the work that you've done, not just through the pandemic, but the work you do in general for this company. You are the people that create the wealth for this company, and you deserve more, especially during this cost of living crisis. So it's absolutely vital that you vote in this ballot. And I would say just one more thing in closing. Not only should you vote, but please go out there into the workplaces, encourage your fellow work colleagues to vote in this. Make sure they participate in this ballot. We are a democratic organisation, and we believe in it very strongly. So please get that ballot paper, encourage your friends, your work colleagues to vote, and let's see if we can get this massive turnout in this ballot and a massive yes vote. That's really what my message is to you. It is absolutely crucial. I want you all to stick by your union. We will do our best for you, the members. Please stick by your union and please vote yes in this ballot.
Thank you, Andy. That's brilliant. So, as Andy said, we want you to encourage your colleagues, but tonight you can help us by sharing the link, tagging your colleagues, and making sure that you're putting in the comments, tell us where you're from, how long you've been a member of the union, and keep those supportive comments that I know you're always so good at, and I'm voting yes, and keep those coming in. So now we're going to go over and we're going to hear a message from our General Secretary, Dave Ward.
From tomorrow, CW members in Openreach, BT and EE will be receiving your ballot papers for industrial action, and it's absolutely crucial that you vote yes and that we also deliver the biggest possible turnout. In the last few weeks, the union has been campaigning hard to gain your support, and the arguments in favour of voting yes couldn't be clearer. Firstly, as key workers, you've done a fantastic job throughout COVID in getting the company to be in great shape as we come out of the pandemic. And remember this, as you made huge personal sacrifices on the front line, the company made huge profits. Secondly, this is not a dispute about affordability. The company posted profits of £1.4 billion recently, and also were able to pay shareholders dividends of £700 million. So, when you hear them making excuses that they haven't got enough money, it's simply not true. They can afford to pay you a very substantial pay rise this year. Thirdly, the cost of living crisis is going to get worse, predicted by all the economists to have a greater impact as the year progresses. and it's not going to go away anytime soon. And the reality is for all workers that if we don't fight for higher pay during times like this, then your standard of living and your family's standard of living will be permanently eroded. There's also, of course, another reason why it's essential that we vote yes. In a similar way to the company P&O, the ferry company, BT management have developed a culture of dictatorial behaviour around imposing change on paid terms and conditions for our members. And no worker in the UK should have to accept that type of behaviour from a management team. We're not going to put up with it, and it really is important that we understand that they are treating the workforce and the union with utter contempt. I also want to reassure you that when we deliver a yes vote, we'll be very sensible in how we move this dispute forward. We will give the company an opportunity publicly to come to the negotiating table with an improved offer and ready for proper negotiations before we resort to any strike action. It's up to them, once you strengthen our hand, as to how they want to proceed with this dispute. But I am here to tell you that strike action will be our last resort. So look, this is a really, really important moment. The union is working in your best interests. We're doing everything possible that we can to deliver you higher pay. And now it's time for you to stand with the union, for you to stand with your fellow workers, and for us to deliver the biggest possible yes vote.
So our thanks goes to Dave for that message, and I'm sure that the members support everything Dave was saying. And Andy, is there anything that you'd like to add to what Dave's message said?
Not really to add. I think Dave covered everything. Basically, I would like to just thank Dave for his comments and thank Dave very much for his support. I think the comments, everybody hopefully would agree with everything that Dave said. But really what it shows is that the CW are absolutely united here. And the people in BT, our members in BT, EE and Openreach ain't just got the support of myself and our department in TNFS, but it's got the support of the whole union. I think Dave made that absolutely clear to everyone.
Thank you, Andy. So now, folks, it's the moment we've all been waiting for. So you might have noticed this evening that Chris Webb, our usual host, is not with us. And that's because we've sent Chris out on location. And hopefully, technology allowing, we're going to go to him live now for him to send a message to you. So, Chris, can you hear us?
Yeah, Karen.
Oh,
have
hi.
You got me?
Yes,
have you got me?
Yes, we've got you.
I'll take that as a yes. I can see some nodding. Okay, so welcome everybody to CW Live. My name's Chris Webb, Head of Communications at the CW. The eve of ballot papers dropping across the nation for our BT, Openreach and EE members. So what an occasion it is. I know you've heard from Karen, you've heard from Andy Kerr, Deputy General Secretary, Telecoms and Financial Services, and you've heard from Dave Ward, General Secretary. We thought you'd also want to hear from someone else. But before we do that, before I let you know where I am, because I know you're all excited, I want to keep it a little bit of suspense. So if you're really, really keen to know where we're coming to you live from tonight, then simply put, I'm voting yes in the comments right now. And as you pile in, that's it, I'm voting yes. I'll give it some thought about, maybe letting you know where we're filming from tonight. Whilst you do that and you get the yes votes in, I'm going to read out some messages from members across the UK who have told us that they're voting yes and they're right behind the union. First up, we have John, who's been in the Openreach, BT and the GPO for over 45 years. So welcome, John. John is saying that he's voted for the union strikes and industrial action ballots his whole working life. He's been a union man from day one, and he will be until the day he retires, which is later this year. He is saying basically, I'm retiring, but I'm voting yes for the next generation. So thank you, John, for your support. We also have Gemma, and Gemma is a BT call centre worker, and Gemma is saying that she basically cannot afford to put fuel in her car. She cannot afford to have, she's skipping meals on a regular basis, and she says, Gemma says, I'll be voting yes, and I'll be encouraging every single person who works for BT in the call centres to do the same. So fantastic. Thank you to your support, Gemma. Matthew, one of our apprentice engineers, in Openreach. Brilliant stuff, Matthew. He said that management have tried to tell us that we're not involved in the strike, and if the strike takes place, we cannot even take part in that. That is absolute rubbish. What Matthew's message is I'll be sticking with the union come May. One more message for you before consider letting you know where we all are, and that's from Sarah. And this one's hard because I saw Sarah's message earlier on and thought we messaged her and said, can we have permission to read this out? Her name is actually not Sarah. We changed that, but her story is the same. And Sarah is saying to me, the union, that she has 2 children, who she lives with on their own, and she herself is regularly skipping meals. Yeah, and she cannot put food on the table for her kids, and she cannot put fuel into her car. And her message to the CW Facebook page last week said that she didn't know if she would be able to afford to live and afford to go to work if we didn't win this dispute and we didn't win this industrial action ballot. So that is just what's at stake here. So you know what, if you're watching this and you are fortunate enough position to be able to ride the cost of living crisis out, we know many of you aren't, but if you are, then do it for Sarah and do it for people like Sarah. So in the comments now, let's have some I'm voting for Sarah. I'm voting for Sarah. Let's get that out there and let's get that trending as well on the CW Facebook page. And straight after this session, we want you to come from Facebook. We want you to dominate the workplace platform. We want I'm voting yes. We want I'm with Sarah. I'm voting for Sarah, and we want massive, massive support out there. So now it's time. You deserve it to let you know where we are. Well, where we are is opulence, actually. It's a lovely place to spend your evening, and I'm sure any of you would like to spend it. There are CEOs and leaders of this company who think they're above ordinary trade union members. There are people who earn £2.6 million last year, 30% increase in pay for Philip Janssen, CEO, from last year compared to this year. So the cost of living crisis is not a thing he has to think about. Food banks is not a thing he has to think about. Putting fuel in the car is not a thing he has to think about. Feeding his kids is not a thing he has to think about. But Philip, you can run from the union, you can run from the members, but you can't hide, because we've come down to your second home, I believe, and maybe of multiple homes in the southwest, multi-million-pound home, massive gates everywhere, tree lined. We couldn't get anywhere near getting on the property because there was security and all sorts of stuff going on. But where we are is on Philip Janssen's driveway, and we've brought a message to the members here for Philip Janssen's driveway. And so he will come, when he comes out of this spiraling property tonight, or he gets out, comes back in it the next time, he will see a massive vote yes. The union, you as members in Openreach, BT and EE, taking the fight directly to the CEO of the company. Now our message is really, really simple now, everybody. You are either with this union and your union, or you're with Food Bank Phil. So we're here, we're in the southwest, we've put a massive banner, vote yes, on his driveway, we're on his turf, and it's critical now that we take the momentum that has been built over the last couple of weeks into the workplaces, into the homes, into every single corner of this union tomorrow morning and for the rest of the week, because ballot papers will land from tomorrow. Remember that. So they may come tomorrow, they may come the next day, they may come Friday, but when they do, think about Phil Janssen and this spiraling mansion, and think about Sarah, who can't put food on the table for her kids and can't get to the work at the end of this month. Vote for yourself, vote for a proper pay rise, and vote for Sarah. So just before, I want to say one more thing, Karen, before I hand back to you in the studio. Is there's some good news for the members and bad news for the members. Some good news for Philip Janssen, some bad news for Philip Janssen. We managed to bring a load of cable ties with us, but we forgot our scissors. So there you go. Back to you, Karen.
Thank you, Chris. And hopefully that's got everybody fired up. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening down in what is obviously a very beautiful part of the world. So we all know what we've got to do from tomorrow. And I'm just going to ask Andy for 2 words before I close.
Vote yes.
Thank you, Andy. We all know what we've got to do. Thank you, and good night, everybody.